Hello users, I've got my coffee and I am ready to play another match or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of Halo 2. I'm playing some Halo 2 Anniversary first this time around. I actually really like Halo 2 Anniversary. I don't know what today's topic is going to be. I've been liking these like pseudo semi-philosophical topics throughout these multiplayer sessions. And I just like to have it come naturally. So whatever I end up titling this video, just keep that in mind. Oh, we're playing Team Snipers? Oh, shit. I didn't know I had that toggled. I don't like Team Snipers. My opinion on the sniper rifle is I love the sniper rifle, but I only love it because when I have it, it means I'm better than everyone else. But when everyone has it, it means then I'm back on the bottom of the leaderboard as far as skill is concerned. And that's what I dislike about Team Snipers, but I'll try it. But yeah, I like this remake. It's a good remake. It's like my thing about this is that it reminds me of both Halo 2 and Halo 3, especially because it's got Lockout, which is also in Halo 3, and then it also has the assault rifles, and that's like a huge Halo 3 thing, which is really strange. I don't know why they added the assault rifles. The suppressed SMG I do like. That's kind of like a nod to Halo 3 ODST, but the the assault rifles are, I don't know, they feel out of place. I don't know, but maybe that's just me. But either way, I like this remake. It's good actually. I mean, I still haven't played the campaign mode. Oh shit. But we'll see how that goes. Obviously, if you watched the previous episode of Let Us Play, I got very confused with Halo. I got really high last night, and I was like, I'm gonna try playing Halo campaign. Did not go well. Shit. I guess that guy's dead now. I missed my chance of being epic. Yeah, I'm not good at Team Snipers. Like, this needs to be admitted live. I'm very bad at Team Snipers. Oh. Yeah, that's the thing, is like, again, I love having the sniper rifle, but that's only when the sniper rifle is like a hot commodity, because, you know, I'm not good at this. But yeah. Yeah, I got really high last night. I guess I could dedicate this video to talking about marijuana. That might be fun. Oh shit. I almost got that guy. But yeah, I really like marijuana. That'll be today's topic. I really like marijuana. I've been kind of a daily user for the better part of 2 years now, I'd reckon. The longest I've taken off is like maybe 2 months. Snapshot. I don't know what snapshot. Is that like a no scope, or is that what that is? I've gotten those many times, but I don't know what exactly they are. Snapshot. I think they are just no scopes. Fucking. Oh, I had the beam rifle. I should have just switched to that, but I'm a fucking idiot. I like how you don't spawn with the beam rifle. Rifle. You just have to find it. I think that's kind of cheeky. But yeah, I've been a daily user of marijuana for the better part of 2 years now. I don't know how many people in my audience are indulgers themselves, but it's pretty good. I mean, I've got a very typical relationship. And where I would say it probably has saved my life in a lot of ways. You know, typically, I've got my fan on, hopefully that's not too annoying. But typically I'm a very depressed and anxious person. But when I've got good amounts of THC in the bloodstream, that usually just, you know, goes away. And I tend to act more regular, more normal. And, that was bollocks. And, you know, it's really treated me well. My favorite form of consumption is tincture, which I've been thinking about making a how-to guide for that. potentially in cooking with the bitch, because technically you have to cook for that. It's a little science experiment. Holy shit. Holy fuck. That's horrifying. But I've been really digging blunts lately. I'm not a huge fan of bongs. Bongs are my least favorite form of consumption, I would say. Just because typically they really end up hurting my throat. I do have asthma, so smoking is normally a more difficult task for me, but it really does depend on the apparatus. I like vaporizers too. I was big on those last year, but I don't live in a legal zone anymore. It's illegal where I live now, so getting those is like pretty much impossible legally. Well, you know, legally speaking, I'd have to drive multiple hours in order to go buy one from Washington, D.C., but illegally, they're a lot harder to come by, and I don't really trust those cartridges illegally, because that's just a giant red flag. Holy mackerel. Oh, I got a snapshot. Damn it! How the fuck? That was bullshit. But yeah, I normally don't partake in marijuana in the mornings. Normally I wait until like, I don't know, 1 or 2 p.m. I'm gonna not play snipers, by the way, going forward. I normally wait until like 1 or 2 p.m. It's about 1 now, so I'm recording this video in the morning. I got my coffee, and then I'm probably gonna go do something afterward. Let me make sure I disable team snipers, because again, I am just not good at team snipers, like just straight up. I'll put classic Halo 2 on. Honestly though, I've been really jamming with Halo 2 Anniversary, because little story time, I'd never played Halo 2 online. I think I said that before. So Halo 2 itself is kind of like a new game, but it's like, it reminds me of like a beta Halo 3, which in a way it is technically. But Halo 2 Anniversary is like very similar formula, and it's actually very faithful. You know, it doesn't have sprinting, it doesn't have any bullshit in it. It looks really good, and it's like a new game, and it's like a mixture of Halo 2 and 3, but with like Halo 4 graphics, and it's just, I like it. I don't know, I really like Anniversary, but I'll pop on some regular classic just in case. But yeah, I'd never smoked cigarettes or anything before, but I've always been interested in weed. The first time I ever had weed was in a controlled environment with a friend at the age of 21, and I'm going to be turning 24 in 2 weeks. And so, you know, it's been a few years. Leaving matchmaking, why is that occurring? Is the game broken? This happens sometimes. The game just straight up breaks. I'm going to turn my fan off. Because now I'm in that weird zone where it's like, it's too warm without the fan on. But then when I turn the fan off, it's too warm. But when I turn the fan on, I get too chilled. You know what I mean? So I'm turning it back on. I think the game broke. I'm pretty sure the game broke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset it. I apologize. God, this video is terrible. But yeah, the two main things that I really partake on a daily basis to keep me level-headed and stable and sane are coffee in the morning and marijuana in the evening. And it's funny because, again, I'd never tried either of these things up until my 20s. And, you know, both of these in their own separate ways have really stabilized a lot of my mood swings. In a really nice instance. You know, coffee makes me like being a morning person. I've never really been a morning person my entire life until I started drinking coffee. And then it's like, it gives me something to do in the morning. It makes me feel really good. You know, Ivory Tower. Have I played this level? I don't think so. In fact, I don't think I've heard of this level. Ivory Tower. Yeesh, right? We'll see how this goes, though. But yeah, I love coffee. I'm trying this new coffee. It's called Vanilla Bean. I've never tried that before. Kind of tastes like what you'd think French vanilla tastes like, except not really. Oh! This is a Halo Reach map. Oh, shit. I didn't know this was a Halo 2 map originally. That's awesome. Holy shit, this is Reflection from Halo Reach. That's super cool. I had no idea this was a Halo 2 map. Again, I'd never played Halo 2 online. That was definitely a terrible choice of gameplay. I don't even think that's... And I didn't even do that right. Oh, this was the right area. Gotcha! I'm really good at grenades, I find.
Tied the leader.
But yeah, coffee in the morning, marijuana in the evening. Like I said, probably after this video is over, I'm probably gonna hit something up. I'm glad that guy's mother was, you know, yelling at them and they couldn't play the game. That greatly makes me feel good, especially because this rocket launcher's got like extra rounds. I love this level. I love the palm trees. This is super awesome. Again, I had no idea that the original version of this was in Halo 2. I thought this was a Reach map. That's super cool. My favorite strain, or I guess type of marijuana, is indica. I noticed that nobody else that I know that likes marijuana prefers indica, and it makes me sad. So if you like indica, let me know. Let's be friends. Let's discuss things. Let's have a good time. I love how that guy was like flailing. He's like, what? Oh my god! But yeah, I used to get high all day, every day. But I decided to replace my mornings with coffee because it makes me make more decent YouTube videos. That's really the main thing. Because that's all I really do with my life at this moment is I just make YouTube videos. Oh, I'm still alive? I thought I died there, but okay. That's some bull ass. That's some bull ass right there. I made someone rage quit, I think. But yeah, back during like some of my more depressed moments in my life, mostly just last year around this time, I would just wake up and just get really high immediately. And like that was fun, and it definitely kept me from killing myself, which is, you know, I'd say an accomplishment. But it really made... Oh shit. Is the game broken? Hello?
Slayer.
But it really made me very unproductive. And like that's one of the big drawbacks of weed is that I'm at the point where I can usually be relatively productive while I'm high, but I'm never comparable to when I'm really focused when I'm on coffee or something. And that's just, you know, that's just how I am, I guess. I know some people are better at being productive and stable while intoxicated as well. You know, I am. Like, you know, like I can do basically anything. It's just it's not going to be looking great, or it's not going to be the best, and especially with YouTube videos, it makes me a lot more unable to get my thoughts out clearly and easily, which presentation is a pretty large part of YouTube. So that's why I usually make the gaming videos when I'm high out of my mind, and then more actual serious subject matter like the above it all videos, usually when I'm just drinking my morning coffee. But I also like the idea of doing some multiplayer fun in the morning as well, because, you know, it allows me to kind of make this kind of video. I still don't know if I'm going to make this a separate series or not. I might not. I don't know. It really depends. I do kind of like it being contained in Let Us Play, because it works as a miniature advertisement. If you like me talking about video games, then surely you'll like me playing video games. Damn. We got each other at I love like just going full grenade, just spam them all over the place. It usually ends up being pretty funny. Especially in Halo 1. Halo 1's got the best grenades. I'm hoping my teammate there backs me up. The sword is so good in this game. I love it. But yeah, let me know what y'all's relationships to substance abuse is. Because honestly, that's what it is. I really don't get sober people. Maybe I'll learn when I'm 30 or 40 or something. I'll figure it out. Maybe there's gonna be like something that clicks in, like gears that just shift into place, you know? We'll see, but I just don't understand sober people. They're just really weird. I'm gonna die. No, I'm not. Is there fall damage in Halo 2? I don't even know. But I haven't really had a sober day in my life. I count coffee as a substance. I don't think that many people do just because it is really normalized, but it definitely alters the way I act and behave and can function significantly, I'd say. And it's also relatively unhealthy in high doses. So I mean, I consider it to be a drug. I know that may be a little controversial for some individuals. I don't know. It's really bizarre. I've had this conversation with a few people. My whole outlook is anything that you put inside of your body is a drug in some capacity, and it modifies the way that your brain works. And I was talking about this, I think, in the in the previous multiplayer video about how your diet can affect your mental health and how you can behave and function and stuff. Like, for example, like vitamin D, I think, has like a very direct correlation with whether or not you're depressed and stuff. I think that's super interesting, for sure. Like, definitely very interesting. And so, like, I would just say anything you're putting into your body, food, non-food, anything, can be perceived as a drug and modify the functioning of your brain and, you know, in physical tests of strength and stuff like that. Oh, nice. That was the end game double kill. Okay. Fucking hell yeah. That was really cool. Wow. Alright. Wow. But yeah, that's what I consider. Like, for example, I've been a vegetarian for 3 months now, and I definitely feel different. When I did the ketogenic diet, I did that for about a month and a half or so. I'm turning my fan off again. I did that for about a month and a half or so. And that was really just, it made me feel really good, but my problem was that it's kind of unsustainable because I've got like scarring in my brain that makes me like just a food addict, and I went about 6 or 7 weeks without carbohydrates, you know, outside of like very low carb, very low carb shit, you know, like cheese, for example, very low carb, but still some in there. At least when you eat a lot of cheese. And, it's you know, it's one of the, I'm really hot again, I'm turning my fan on. But it's one of those things where it's, again, like, you can notice changes in your diet. Like, for example, with supplements. Like, for example, also, I like this level, but I hate getting the same level over and over. I wish they had the voting system in this. That's like the one thing I really miss from classic Halo is the voting system. I really don't know why they took that out. It's kind of bizarre, honestly. See, now I've got the sniper and nobody else does, so now I'm gonna feel pretty badass. And I just killed myself with that grenade, by the way. I just want that to be known. That was a self-immolating grenade toss. But yeah. So yeah, I consider coffee a drug, and I consider it one of my favorite drugs. I would say if I were to rank them, I like marijuana more than coffee. It's more versatile. Coffee just kind of has one purpose, like bring me to life and keep me hyper-focused. Whereas marijuana, I feel like, can be used for anything. Alright. Nice kill. But marijuana, I feel like, can be used it can be used for parties. It can be used in social circumstances. It can be used to feel good. It can be used, you know, to treat depression, anxiety. it can be used just to like make things different. You know what I mean? Like that's why I love playing video games while I'm high, because like especially a lot of childhood games I haven't played while ever doing marijuana. So it's like that's really fun for me. That's part of the reason why I'm doing the whole Let Us Play series as a whole. Is to, you know, I wanted to take a break from speedrunning, and I definitely have been. But my main focus on Let Us Play really is just playing games while high, because it's a new experience for me. Like I've done speedruns while high before, like throughout all of last year. Really, most of my speedrunning was when I was really high, and that's why I didn't get many world records, I think. But I you know, like just playing Halo Remaster. It's like a new experience, you know. It's just really cool. I love when the grenades just roll into you from a kill. It's like, hell yeah, these are my spoils. But yeah, I don't know. It's just really fun. It's just, I don't, like, it's not just that it's really fun, it's that it's extremely fun. And this goes back into one of the things that I've mentioned before, but I haven't in a while, is that, like, nostalgia is such a powerful tool. And this is why I'm grateful to have been raised on video games and had bad parents that would never really communicate with me at all. But, you know, I've got these, like, emotional connections toward a lot of video games. That, like, the thing about video games that's different from, like, cartoons, anime, TV shows, is that you can experience them in a lot of variable ways. So, like, for example, when I play a game, I'll do it differently unless it's a speed run. I'll try to do it differently each time. And you can't really do that with a movie. So like rewatching a movie or a cartoon or an anime or something, while high is fun, it's enjoyable, but it's not that enjoyable in the sense of like, alright, I've done that high, been there, you know? You don't really have the motive to do it again. But whereas with a video game, you know, like for example, I've been doing this a lot where I just look at the skyboxes and I'm just like, wow, this game looks beautiful. And it's just like that kind of stuff, right? Because like, especially when you're playing a remaster, it's like, it's the things you remember from the original, and then like, it's blown up and beautiful, the game feels familiar, and it's just also, everything looks amazing. I don't know, it's just really fun. So video gaming while high is definitely something. I need to like try to figure out to do more things while high. Like I've been trying to read while high, but that's really hard because like, I'm kind of dyslexic. And so, like, reading as it is a difficult task for me. Just because... Oh, whoops. I totally thought that that's not what the architecture was. Reading for me is kind of a difficult task as it is. Because, you know, it's just really hard for me to read for extended periods of time. And that's why I like podcasts. But I still try to read every now and then. But reading while high kind of makes my dyslexia just kind of not become, it goes from mild to I'm just staring at a page, you know what I mean? So it goes from like, this is kind of debilitating, but not really. Like, you know, I can still relatively function well. I don't know what the grammatical corrective would be there, but marijuana and books is just, I really want to try doing those kinds of activities. Exercising while high, that's honestly my favorite. Exercising while high lets me just like burn hundreds of calories without even thinking about it. And it's been really good for losing weight. Definitely something I recommend for those that like marijuana. Try exercising. Food, of course. Food while high, and this is you know, really dangerous with my food addiction. But food while high is just gorgeous. It's like when I first discovered marijuana and I first got heavily into it, it was kind of when I broke my diet. The first time that I really did as an adult, because I was really overweight as a child. Did I get that? I did. And I've been kind of raised poorly. I was raised really poorly, actually, when it comes to food and nutrition and that kind of stuff. And so, like, I was like I was semi-anorexic. I was to the point where I was like afraid of food, honestly, after a while. After a few months of going on like a very hardcore restrictive diet. I don't know how to use the Banshee Bomb. I really don't. That didn't go well. This is not going well. Am I alive? Did I actually live through that? I guess so. That's what I think about whenever I think about my childhood. Did I actually live through that? Did that actually happen to me and that's not like some television show I'm like remembering watching or something? But yeah, one thing that marijuana has made, I mean, after the point where I kind of discovered that exercising was so fun while doing marijuana, it really kind of made the food addiction balancing out like a little bit easier. And right now I'm kind of like in a little bit of a weird phase because like life is so interesting for me. Like this is going to be like I need to write about this a little bit more extensively. This needs to be in my memoirs. Is that like right now like kind of the world is collapsing, like literally just right now. Every time I try to go to the grocery store I get like $50 worth of food and it just goes. As you can see on my back wall I've got like stashes of pasta. I've got like a bunch of bread in the freezer. You know, like I'm really trying to. I love making the gauntlet of grenades there. I've lost 10 pounds. I hit 189 yesterday, which is super awesome. I love those 10-pound thresholds. They're almost as good as like 10-minute thresholds in speedrunning. Though honestly, that shit is just gold. I gotta speedrun more. Honestly, I really want to. I want to find a new speed game to just sink my teeth into. But that's for another time. Definitely go watch the speed play videos that I've been putting up with Doom. Those are fun. But what was I saying? Fuck. One thing about marijuana is that it's made my memory horrendous. Now, obviously, I'm transgender, right? So, being transgender, one thing a lot of people don't know about this is, but when you're transgender, basically over the course of like, you know, 2 or 3 years, you forget every part of your life before that because it doesn't really make any sense and it doesn't really fit like your kind of understanding of what you are and who you are. So like, for example, when I say things like about my childhood, like I don't believe them or they seem like they didn't happen to me, it's literal in a sense of where I have disassociated through that entire portion of my life, like the first 21 years of my life were basically, you know, it's basically like I was just kind of given this life. Nice. It's kind of like I was just given a life and I just kind of started it mid-motion. That's kind of what it feels like. Being transgender and being raised poorly, you know, as well on top of that. Like just having, like living in abject poverty for 10 years of your childhood, you know, that kind of stuff. It really just psychologically damages you. So that's one of those things that a lot of people don't really understand in being trans, is that like the first 20 years of my life, they might as well have not happened to me. So I'm going to be 24, but in reality I feel like I'm kind of like 14 or 15 in a way. And it's really strange. It's really strange. I wonder how weird it is for people that transition in their 30s to like go through adulthood and then just like forget it all, or like be like stuck in the middle of a career or something, you know, like it's just like one of those things where like once you kind of put together the puzzle pieces of being transgender, I don't know, it's kind of like you just become a different person, honestly. Stigma, what is this level? I keep thinking that the map playlist like for Halo 2 Anniversary is small. I could keep thinking there's only like 5 or 6 maps. And then I play a new one. Like, have I played all of the maps for Anniversary yet? I don't know. This will probably be the last match of this video. Hopefully you're enjoying the dialogue or monologue I'm having. I'm going to turn my fan off again. What is this map? But yeah, so it's really weird. It's really weird. And that's kind of like significantly...
Kill the enemy team to score.
It's really dark. That's kind of significantly affected me. And it's also especially weirder because like I'm a live streamer, and so there's like lots of these moments of my life that are like well documented. And it's like, you know, sometimes I go back and watch VODs and I do remember some of that stuff, but I don't really remember it from a first person sort of view. I remember it from like, I kind of like treat it as if it's like a DVD commentary, where it's like I just know the DVD commentary, but that's not me that actually did all that stuff. You know, it's really strange. It's very, very strange, actually. It's something I don't hear people talk about really at all, but I saw a bunch of people on Twitter the other day talking about it, so it's kind of been like in my brain a little bit. Like, yeah, it's really strange just kind of being like in the body of a 24-year-old, but like mentally you're like not really that age. You know, it's really strange. I mean, I guess maturity-wise I am, you know, obviously. But just like in the, I'm going to turn my fan on again, but just in like the sheer amount of like, again, experiences that I've gone through, it's like it's really foggy. You know, you just kind of have all these aspects to your life that you don't really like, but like you can't really change them for whatever reason. Like, for example, my food addiction. Like, I've been dieting this month, and this is a really unusual period. As I think this was the train track I was on before I forgot what I was talking about in the middle of it. But, during this coronavirus pandemic, I've got so much food stocked up right now. I'm sitting on like $500 worth of food. I spent a lot of my Trump bucks on food as well. And, like, you know, it's food that has no expiration date. And, like, one thing about that is I didn't realize how much anxiety there was in the food situation that I lived in. Because I had lived in a situation where having months worth of food available to me was unthinkable. And that was, like, basically my entire life for a very significant, I'd reckon, amounts of time. Like, I would say most of my childhood, I just didn't have, like, one thing is because I was a child, I didn't really keep track of that. My mom never told me anything, and, you know, we kind of lived paycheck to paycheck in a way, so, you know, it was just one of those things where you're taught not to care. You know, oh, you shouldn't worry about this, but in reality, it just makes you worry even more, because you just don't know. Like, I'd rather my parent lie to me and tell me, like, oh, everything's fine, than tell me you don't need to worry about that, you're just a kid. You know what I mean? Like, that's like, just for any aspiring parents out there, psychologically it's just not good for children. And so then, like, during a lot of my teen years, I would just like go days without eating because we didn't have any food. And I think I talked about this in the previous video, I'm not sure though. If anyone wants me to go in more detail for any subject, feel free to let me know. But and so now I'm at a position where I've got like 5 or 6 months worth of food. Like, just like for me, at the rate that I'm eating with this diet especially, I've been eating 800 calories a day and I feel really fine. Like, I've been having these cravings, but honestly, like, for whatever reason, I kind of feel like in a little bit of a way, I feel like I'm food addiction sober. You know, like, I've got 2 weeks on this diet. My goal is to do this diet until my birthday, 800 to 900 calories a day, really, until my birthday, which is on the 31st, and then I'm going to enjoy myself, and then after that, we'll go from there. I don't like planning too far ahead, because then I feel like that leaves me prone to failure. So, like, right now, it's like, I'm halfway through this diet. I'm more than halfway now. I'm more than halfway through. Just because I see someone in my family eating a slice of pizza, I'm not gonna let. Like, this is something is like, nothing tastes as good as being, like, in your own body feels, you know what I mean? And, you know, 10 pounds down. I started around 203 this time around, and I'm 189. Probably, I think I'm like 191 because, you know, I just had breakfast, but, you know, I get a little obsessed with my weight in that kind of instance, but I really shouldn't. But that's not important right now. It's been going really well, and my goal is to probably hit 160 is my overall goal. And I've said this before, is I want to be the best version of myself as soon as this coronavirus pandemic is over, assuming I don't, you know, be killed by it. Which I recognize as a very distinct possibility, is that I will die during the coronavirus pandemic. I try not to think about it, and that's one thing that marijuana helps, is, again, I'm very, very anxious person. But when I'm under the influence of marijuana, for some people it makes them more anxious, but for me, it does not in any capacity. It just basically makes me not anxious at all, and I just focus on the good things in life. like being, you know, really high right now is usually what I'm focusing on when I'm when I'm doing that. But I don't know, it's just really fun, and I'm feeling like I'm in a really good headspace right now. And it's just, again, I haven't been in this kind of a good headspace in a long time. Like, the last time I remember being in this good of a headspace was like slightly before I started hormones, when I kind of like made the decision to start hormones, and it was in the process of doing it. So I was like, I had that kind of relief knowing that like this chapter of my life, or whatever as you wanted to call it, is ending. And then I was like at the height of my kind of like terrible food fear, you know. I was probably eating like 300 calories a day at that point. Very, very unhealthy. And you know, it was like 135 pounds, I think, was my thinnest. Very unhealthy. But I remember thinking around that time, like, you know, things are going pretty well. That was around when I was making a lot of money from live streaming. And things are going pretty well money-wise. You know, I've got enough money in my bank account to sustain really a year's worth of fatal financial errors. Not errors, but just like situational, you know, like things that would arise. And, you know, that wealth that I had did last about a year's worth. And then I kind of like hit rock bottom there. And, you know, now I'm bouncing back. I'm in a nice, healthy home environment for like the first time in my life. And that's doing a lot for my mental health. It's allowing me to recover from a lot of abuse of my childhood, because I lived with my mother until basically she had a stroke and was in the hospital. And I had a falling out with that side of the family. They did not like that I was transgender. My mother was like kind of the only person on that side of my mother's side of the family that kind of appreciated that, you know, I'm a real human, essentially. Even though, of course, my mom was very abusive to me in my childhood. But, you know, we kind of... And this is the really tragic part about my relationship with my mother, is that, like, you know, she didn't really get the whole trans thing, and then, like, one day I explained it to her. And, I'm gonna do one more game just to not leave this video off on a terrible sour note. But then I kind of explained it to her one day, and, you know, she basically just kind of admitted that she was kind of like a terrible parent for a lot of my childhood, and then just, like, kind of said that we should work together and we should, like, at least try to have a life together, that we're not hating at each other. And then, like, 2 weeks later, she had a stroke and basically just went to the hospital, and I never really saw her again. So it's, you know, kind of like the tragic thing about that. And I've not really talked about this, so I'm just going to do one more game here and get this off my chest. Yeah, you know, like, I kind of had a falling out with the other side of my family. Right now I live with my brother, who's my half-brother on my father's side. Erupt, another level I've never heard of. But yeah, so then, basically, my mother's brother essentially decided that it was in his best interest to move my mother to a facility that I could not get to, because I did not have a car, and I don't know how to drive, and I lived in a city. So basically, I could visit the other hospital via the metro rail system. But he decided to specifically move her somewhere that required a vehicle to get to, and then not tell me, and then not bring me to see her. And then basically he threatened me to basically leave the family. And one of the main reasons was because I was trans, and they just did not respect that in any capacity. So there was no, like, you know, any sort of relatively stable or normal conversation about it. It was just like, I think you're gross, I don't like you, and I want you to basically never see your mother again. And, so that was when I tried to kill myself again. And, you know, I reached out to my brother, and he was like, you know, you can just live with me, we can make that work. And I was like, really? And I was like, okay, so now I'm here. And again, I'm in a relatively stable home environment with a loving family, and it's actually really awesome. So it's, again, it's another weird thing, because, like, the last time I'd really talked to my half-brother was when, like, we were kids, and then he moved away. And then we just went, like, 10 years without talking, so it's, you know, just really interesting how my life turned up. I just totally assassinated my teammate there. Don't worry, I got that ratio, so we're good. Holy fuck. I love that sound of the fucking SMG. It's super nice. And now I just, like, it really is so fascinating to me how stability of the home environment is probably the chief reason why I do have anxiety and depression issues, is because I just lived in abject poverty for a significant portion of my formative years. And so that's why I'm such, like, a very adamant anti-poverty person. I don't like anybody that accepts that poverty is just something about life that is just endemic to society, is that there will always be poverty. Anybody that does that is somebody that never grew up in poverty. And as someone that grows up in that kind of environment, and at least, you know, I'm spending a good portion of my 20s as just a collective year of growth in life, just trying to recover from that, you know, it really just does put you at such a dramatic handicap as far as just being able to mature and integrate yourself into society as an adult. And I just, you know, again, I find the idea that there are poor people to just be bizarre to me. Because, you know, if I just look back through my life, it's like there's a series of cracks that my entire life fell through. And it's like, why is that even a thing? Like, you like I don't know, the society has kind of taught us at this point that, like, everything's figured out, everything's perfect, we've got everything under control. You know, like, but then once you realize that that's not true in any capacity, and then once you realize, like, almost everything that's a problem in society could just not be a problem, and it's just human political choices by the people that have so much privilege and power and that have never been poor in their entire lives. Like, you know, the elites, like Donald Trump, for example, never been poor a day in his life, has no idea what it's like in any capacity whatsoever. Then making all the decisions, and especially during this pandemic, there's so many people that are dying right now for no reason, like literally no reason. They are dying because of choices that politicians made. And again, it's just like one of those things where that's why I'm so righteous about it, is because, like, I see how poverty affected me, and I know that there are all these lifelines I had. Like, again, like, if I didn't have, like, a half-brother who I was well acquainted with, but, you know, not really super close to, I would probably be, you know, be dead right now, or homeless, or worse, you know? I mean, I guess there's not much worse than that, but, and so, like, the only reason I'm literally alive is just because I had some form of assistance, you know? And that to me is like, there's so many people that don't have that assistance, and that do end up dying, or permanently scarred, or in just such a situation to where they can't even get themselves to a stable environment. Like, for me, I'd say I'm relatively stable, and I'm able to recover from having such, like, a terrible first 23 years of my life or so. And I'm able to move on from that in a way that I wasn't before. And so there's people, like, that don't have family. Say their family dies during the coronavirus pandemic and they become an orphan, for example. That's a thing that's happening right now. Those people are going to be set back decades, like, compared to the rest of society. And that's why it's such a big deal to me. And that if people do have these issues, that they should be told that these are normal and these are okay, and that there are ways to get out of them, and that there should be ways to get out of them. Because, you know, my entire life, I was always told, don't worry about it, everything will be fine. And then when things weren't fine, you know, I knew that things weren't fine, and then all I knew is that nothing would ever get better. And again, a lot of that is just bad parenting. Like, a lot of that is just bad parenting. And, you know, that goes into another whole thing, is a lot of people that are parents aren't professional psychologists. So, like, they ended up just, you know, creating, like, generations of just fucked up motherfuckers. And it's just, you know, it's just super interesting. I don't know, this video's been all over the place. But yeah, marijuana's definitely been back to round this up. Marijuana's been a very important factor in a lot of my ability to kind of recover from such a terrible upbringing, and to realize that, like, you know, there's like kind of like a feedback loop of society, at least, you know, modern society trains you to hate each other, into worship leadership. You know, like, this is where billionaire worship comes in. It's like, oh, well, you know, donating $1 billion, even though that's only 1% of their net worth, it's still $1 billion, and that makes them a superhero. It's like, no, not really. Also, that was a terrible final game. But, like, you know, society just teaches you. It's like, yeah, this is how things are. Be grateful, motherfucker. And then that turns us into, like, people that, like, will attack each other for being different. I was like, oh, you're too different, so therefore you don't belong. So I have to continue the cycle that perpetuates kind of like the otherizing and ostracization of like certain minority populations, because usually those people are the people that are receiving the brunt of all of the most deadly and dire forces in society. You know, like, white people will be poor, but will usually never experience systemic endemic racism in their lives. Like, for my particular instance, is like, I can't imagine what my life would be like if I were black or brown. I just couldn't, because I probably would be dead right now in a lot of instances. You know, that would probably be true. But I'm not, because, you know, I'm relatively lucky, and I've got these lucky connections, and society treated me, at least up until my transition, in a way where, you know, I was basically just could blend in and kind of just go through society stealth-like, and that brings its own set of problems as well, of being like, you know, like, but you know, this video is getting too long. Let me know how you think about this video. If there's any topic you'd like for me to go more in depth on, leave a comment. Tell me, like, oh, I really enjoyed this thing. Could you elaborate? Feel free to leave me a comment, and I'll do so. But thank you. I didn't do so well. I think I did decently in that one match, but, you know, I get to the point where I'm just not even paying attention to the game anymore sometimes, and I'm on these rambling monologues. But thank you for watching. Tune in for the next one, and I hope you enjoy the other YouTube videos.